Your currency is stronger here. This affords you the opportunity to open a business in relative comfort. At minimum, you will be middle class. The African middle class has a much higher quality of life than the American middle class. With that in mind, African Americans don't realize how wealthy we truly are. Our collective spending reached $1.6 trillion in 2021. You can purchase a home and land with cash. Welcome to Black to Africa. I'm Tadre Delora Moignet, a California native living my best life in Nairobi, Kenya. Thank you for coming along for the ride. I hope that you are informed, entertained, and inspired to Black to Africa. Today, I am presenting 8 reasons to move to Africa. Number 1, your mental health. Life with significantly reduced racism greatly improves your mental health. Notice my wording. Every corner of the earth has been impacted by white inferiority complex and anti-blackness. Africa is no different. You don't have to deal with racists if you don't want to. The average African will tell you that they don't come into contact with white people on a regular or even a monthly basis. Yes, I am aware that discrimination and poor behavior come from every angle and not just white folks. You don't have to deal with the constant onslaught of being different because you aren't. Most Africans in the diaspora will blend in, especially in cities. To reconnect to yourself. Your spirit knows what it wants, but you just don't have the time to feed it because you're caught up in the rat race. To wake up and think about what you're going to do with your day is a luxury that you can afford here. Number 2, economic freedom. Your currency is stronger here. This affords you the opportunity to open a business in relative comfort. At minimum, you will be middle class. The African middle class has a much higher quality of life than the American middle class. With that in mind, African Americans don't realize how wealthy we truly are. Our collective spending reached $1.6 trillion in 2021. You can purchase a home and land with cash. Depending on your financial status, you don't have to work every day or even at all. I know people that get up, move some money around, and go on about their day. Number 3, to reconnect to your motherland and your people. I read somewhere that every time we come home, we bring an ancestor with us. I do feel like the reason why I'm drawn to certain places is because that is where my spirit has called me. There have been times where I tried and plotted and planned to leave a place and it wouldn't let me leave, chiefly through opportunities that I couldn't pass up. We've been gone for centuries. When you hear an unexpected welcome home, it feels so good. Number 4, your physical health. We have shorter telomeres as a result of racism, discrimination, and existing under constant stress. Life is not perfect in Africa, but when you come with a vibrationally high mindset combined with your strong currency, the stressors seem to melt away. By now, we all know that the U.S. food source is toxic, the prescribed diet and all that comes with it. In Africa, the food source is nearly pristine, depending on the country. In many nations, including Kenya, GMO is illegal. There are some issues with toxic fertilizers and pesticides, but that can be mitigated by researching your food sources. For example, I only purchase organic through an app called Green Spoon in Kenya. We are closer to the equator. Are you ready to take the leap and make your Black to Africa? I'm an African American expat living my best life in Nairobi, Kenya. and I'm here to help. Within a 1 hour organic consultation, I can guide you through the entire process, from choosing the right country to helping you settle in once you arrive. As someone who has made the journey, I understand how daunting it can be. But with my expertise, you can make your Blaxit with ease. Don't wait another day to start living your best life. Book your consultation today and let's make your Blaxit dreams a reality. Overall, being so close to a strong energy force has therapeutic effects. Our soil is richer here. That means that anything that comes from it, irrespective of harsh chemicals, can only nourish your body. More than likely, you will have better access to quality health care. I did a short video about my experience with Kenya's healthcare. Being seen by an African doctor in a private medical facility trumps all the horrible maltreatment that Black people in the US and Europe experience. You don't have to worry about death by police. There are rogues everywhere. People in slums have their complaints. I don't want to minimize their concerns. But if you stay out of politics and you mind your own business, you have no worries. Gun laws are strict. As of May 30th, 2023, there have been 263 mass shootings in 150 days in the United States. In Kenya, to obtain a firearm license, applicants must undergo a thorough vetting process that includes background checks, mental health evaluations, and training on firearm safety and handling. Let me repeat that. Mental health evaluations. Additionally, applicants must prove that they have a secure storage facility for the firearm. Kenyans are not permitted to open carry guns. The Firearms Act of 2015 explicitly prohibits the open carrying of firearms by civilians. On top of that, Kenya doesn't have a gun culture. In the U.S., the first thing some of us reach for in conflict is our guns. Number 5, the God-given right to self-actualize. And isn't that what we are all striving for? Opportunities will come to you without having to jump through an untold amount of hoops. Again, with racism removed from the equation, the sky is the limit. Number 6, to get out of the matrix. Getting out of the matrix is much more feasible in Africa. There are African Americans here that I have never met. I've only heard about them or run into them by happenstance. They live in rural areas with their own farms and livestock. Some live near the mountains or in small fishing villages, minding their own business. Number 7, a slower pace of life. If you want to rip and run these African streets, by all means, it is here for you. But if you want to wake up in the morning and ask yourself, what will I do today? It is so possible here. Number 8, a better quality of life. Middle and upper class Africans have more time for what truly matters, friends and family. Middle to upper class Africans have a multitude of investments, usually a farm or two somewhere, apartment buildings, hotels that they own with their families. Their children are in boarding school, so they are not actively parenting 24/7. They have nannies, housekeepers, guards, drivers, etc. When you have this much help, it frees you up to explore your life's passions. And here are a couple of bonuses. Africa is a great place to be a caregiver. You can afford 24/7 live-in care. Do your research. If you or a loved one is dealing with particular illness, or if you have a child with special needs, find out if there's a specialist in the area you want to repatriate to. Then make the best decision for yourself and your family. When it comes to my mom, I was able to hire an aide to come to our home 3 times a week. I could have hired someone to live with us 24/7, but I felt that I didn't have the space. Even though the staffing agency told me that the aide could sleep on the floor in my mom's room, that was something that didn't sit right with me or my mother. Later, I transferred her to a nursing home, which is very different from what I've experienced in the U.S. The staff lives on site and they provide 24-hour care. They indulge the residents in their dietary requests. My mother loves her hamburgers, pizza, and waffles. So while the other residents are eating ugali and beef stew, Mom has her fast food from time to time. They strike a balance between caregiving and friendship. Number 10, elders are more respected. My mother is treated exceedingly well. In the U.S. and in Europe, there wasn't much regard for her. As some of you know, my mom has dementia. As a result, she was unable to make sound financial decisions. If her radio malfunctioned in her car, she would go out and get a new one. And the people that signed off on her getting a new car loan in her mental state, with her only source of income being Social Security, those people are predators. Things like this happen to her a lot. I should have hired an airport assistant to travel with my mother from Indiana to Nairobi, but I didn't. It actually would have been cheaper and less stressful, though I did opt for wheelchair assistance. Once my mother made it to Germany to transfer to Nairobi, the German airline ticketing agent would not issue my mother a boarding pass, even though my mother had a visa to enter Kenya and wasn't totally coherent. She said that my mother needed a return ticket. Fortunately, the wheelchair assistant was African. He found a way to call me from his phone and filled me in on what was happening. Myself and my father, my mother's former husband, had to rush and purchase a return ticket within less than 30 minutes so she could make her flight. Meanwhile, my mom was tired and she was saying that she wanted to go back to Indiana. She really was a trooper because all in all, she had traveled for 2 days to reach Kenya. I thanked the wheelchair assistant profusely and he told me not to worry. He said, "She is my mom too. I am an Ethiopian brother. I understand." Then he called later to follow up and ensure she had made it to Nairobi safely. A similar situation happened when Mom arrived in Mombasa. There was a planned strike with Lufthansa Air, so Mom's flight was transferred to Mombasa. The Kenyan wheelchair assistant in Mombasa called to let me know my mother was okay, and she kept calling my mother Mom as if she was her own mother. I really appreciated that. It let me know she was in good hands. I also offer Black-Sit consultations. I recently met with an 85-year-old African-American man. He said that one of the reasons he left the United States is because he didn't want to deal with the disrespect and disregard of being an old man in the United States. Ain't that something? That really stuck with me. I share these stories because I want to drive the point home. At the end of the day, my good people, do your research and arm yourselves with knowledge to make the best decision for yourself and your families. If you have questions, hit me in the comments or book an appointment for a consultation. Links are in the description. Also, for those of you listening on podcast platforms, I encourage you to follow me on YouTube. I post weekly short videos of my day-to-day insights and experiences living in Africa. And now I have some good news and some bad news. Hey there, fashion lovers. Are you ready to explore Nairobi's fashion scene like a local? Join me, your personal wardrobe stylist, on an unforgettable fashion tour that will take you off the beaten path. Skip the malls and crowded Maasai markets and let's go where market vendors purchase products wholesale. Then we'll experience hidden gems and the best eclectic boutiques in Nairobi, followed by lunch at one of the city's best farm-to-table restaurants. As an experienced wardrobe stylist, I will provide you with personalized style advice and help you find the perfect ensembles to match your personality and taste. You'll also get the opportunity to meet local designers and learn about their creative processes. If you're an adventurous traveler who enjoys unique and beautiful things, this half-day fashion tour was created for you. I've already discovered the best and most eclectic so you can avoid tourist traps. Whether you're a fashion enthusiast or simply looking for a fun and informative way to experience Nairobi, our eclectic fashion tour is the perfect choice. Book your spot now via Airbnb Experiences and get ready to indulge in Nairobi's unique fashion culture. The bad news is I'm taking a break. I'm taking a break from podcasting for a little while, but I will be back. And when I come back, I have some good news. When I come back, I think I'm going to be in a proper recording studio, and the visuals will be on par with what I imagine for my podcast. So that's the good news. And please send me your blessings as I travel and re-energize. And yeah, that's it. Thank you for joining me on this episode of Blacks to Africa. If you liked what you heard, please share, subscribe, and leave a review. May you thrive. May you be inspired. May you move with love and intention. Until next time.